on board. Even the opponents to a peace process who say that a peace process, speaking about the peace process, is still very premature. They are behind the government and this ceasefire agreement, and they wanted to succeed at any expense.
Welcome back to For the Curious Omnivore. I'm Michel Al-Miouchi, your host. This is part 3 of our discussion with Fred Khair, leading political consultant and analyst, recorded on the first day of the Lebanon-Israel ceasefire. Today, Fred will walk us through what comes next for Lebanon. If you haven't watched them already, do catch parts 1 and 2 on our channel, where Fred walks us through how Lebanon got here and what the ceasefire itself entails. Thanks and enjoy. So, moving on now. Aoun and Salam, what should they do? So, he's been invited to the White House, President Aoun. And just maybe if we sort of contextualize things first, we have a president who commanded the army and a prime minister who presided over the International Court of Justice. They have a certain amount of credibility in terms of the individuals themselves. Whatever we may hear, they're definitely the cleanest we've had in those seats, certainly in a generation. So rather than asking what might happen, let's talk a little bit about what they should do starting this morning or tomorrow morning. So President Aoun's been invited to the White House. What can he bring to that meeting, and what must he come away with?
What will he bring to this meeting? He's definitely going to bring something concrete about the army deploying and proving that it can enforce the disarmament plan, especially in the northern Litani area. And I believe that the army is more than capable of doing that. And the political decision is now easier to implement, especially if Nabih Berri is on board. So that it would be much easier this time. So this is what he would bring on the table.
That's a big if, though. Nabih Berri.
And yes, actually. And what would he bring back from there is more guarantees from the Israeli side, if the agreement is respected, we can hope for a planned withdrawal, gradual withdrawal, and this is going to be very tough because the Lebanese state is still the weakest link for the moment. So
do you see a future where, if we play our cards right, we can have a complete withdrawal of the Israelis from Lebanese
I would say yes.
territory?
I would say yes, okay. Absolutely.
So the 10 days that we have now, it's a clock. The clock's ticking. We've already spent one of those days for all intents and purposes.
One last chance, maybe.
So what has to be locked in by 9 days from today for this not to collapse back into war?
The deployment of the army and a political decision covering the Lebanese army in fulfilling its mission. And like I said, the army is more than capable of doing that. So they need the political arrangement and coverage, which is represented by the government and the executive power. And that would be the concrete first step in aligning with the ceasefire agreement and its and meeting its expectations.
And do you think that a ceasefire with Iran is also a condition for us to be able to maintain a ceasefire? Or do you see a scenario where even if talks with Iran fail and war starts again there, we could do something to make sure that the ceasefire with Israel and Lebanon is maintained?
This is why the clock is ticking, because we have to make sure to. I know that we won't be able to do that in 10 days, but separate the Lebanese cards as much as we can from the Iranian power of harm doing in Lebanon would be perfect. Because I believe that if the Iranian US talks don't succeed in getting a sustainable ceasefire, they could use Hezbollah again, because like I said in the beginning, Hezbollah is nothing but a proxy to negotiate better conditions for their ceasefire agreement or peace process.
So we're at great risk if the talks in Iran fail, with Iran fail.
Yes, we're still at great risk. Yes, absolutely.
Now, you had mentioned the political will, and we know that in the past the army has claimed that there was no political will providing it with the cover necessary for it to act in a more forceful manner than it has. Since then, Prime Minister Salam has banned Hezbollah's military activity. It's officially illegal for the first time ever in Lebanon. Expelled or attempted to expel the Revolutionary Guards, Iranian Revolutionary Guards from the country, and ordered the LAF, if I'm not mistaken, to implement the disarmament plan up to the Awali River, right? Is that enough? Or can we now consider there is the political cover?
It wasn't, clearly, it wasn't, because it's nothing happened. But I believe that these decisions were on pause. And now is the time to implement them and to enforce them. Because now there's a political, and I know that it sounds surreal, but this is the Lebanese reality. Now, I believe that the political will has been liberated somehow and has taken advantage of the situation again. So they're stronger than they were when they took this decision, either the prime minister, the government, or the executive branch. So now with the new developments, the new political developments, I guess that they have the leverage to impose and implement these decisions more than ever.
So you think now the LAF is politically empowered, you would say?
I believe that, yes. At least more empowered than it used to.
Now, so that's, if you like, the military dimension, the security dimension. If you look at the social dimension, if we look at reconstruction now, I would imagine that reconstruction and reconstruction money is going to be a very key leverage point beyond the 10 days coming, obviously. But if the state doesn't rebuild the south, then Hezbollah's welfare arm will, as it has in the past, and that could potentially put the whole disarmament project at risk. Would you agree? And is there anything that the Lebanese government could be doing today to start going in that direction of supporting and with the reconstruction?
This is what President Aoun is gonna get back from his talks with the U.S. and possibly with Israel. But I wouldn't agree with you on the Hezbollah welfare system taking over, because I still believe that they're very weakened. I would say that it would be chaos. So people without housing, without being able to go back to their villages or to their areas where they used to live, and without any money to provide them for their living expenses, even to this point. So I would say it's either the Lebanese government that will have the means to do that, or it will be nothing. And then,
but we said that after the last ceasefire a year ago, and in a vacuum, even a little bit is everything.
Yes.
The state was absent. Hezbollah had much less means than it did in the past. There wasn't a thank you Qatar like after 2006.
And still, they're still here. I would say I would go even further. They're still here without nothing now. But if it's impossible for them with time to sustain with such a situation. It's unthinkable that people that have lost their houses and without any alternatives, and that couldn't go back to their villages and to their areas, that would keep on supporting Hezbollah blindly.
But that's
and if they want to support Hezbollah blindly, good for them.
But that's what Hezbollah can't do. I'm more interested in hearing about what the Lebanese state can do. What can it do right now to fulfill the needs of those displaced, those people who've lost their homes, their livelihoods, and everything? Is there anything the government can do? Or,
yes, they should explain to these people. This is why the Shiite representative, not in the executive branch because he's the Speaker of Parliament, but the Shiite representative in the state senior leadership, Nabiha Berre, should be helping them to convince these people that the decisions taken by the government should be enforced, and it's a condition to their welfare and to their.
But
to
is
them
there
going
nothing
back
that
to.
can be done physically on the ground, putting stone over stone, feeding, housing, clothing?
You still have access to some kind of relief systems or welfare systems, but it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. You have a complete population that have been displaced, and you only have temporary measures that can.
But isn't this going to be critical? How can we convince an entire population that the state is there for them if it's not? Is there nothing they can do to bring means to these people?
Again, they should be convinced that they are Lebanese citizens, that they have rights, but they also have duties.
But we've wanted that before. It doesn't happen like that. They need food, they need homes,
yes,
they need
yes.
roofs.
Now more than ever, they have to be convinced that we're talking about their survival, and about the survival of the country. It's not only about them.
But if you put yourselves in their shoes today, the only people who stood up for them,
yes,
look at it from their perspective, the only entity that stood up for them over the past, put aside how we got into the war.
But stood up for them for what reason? To get them here, because they need them. They need their popular support.
Aligned,
but
where the Lebanese army withdrew, Hezbollah stepped forward and ran into the fire. That's how they see it.
Stepped forward, ran into the fire, and destroyed the whole areas in the south. If that's what they wanted to have, and I believe it's impossible. That it's inconceivable to think that people are happy with their house being destroyed and not being able to go back to their houses just because Hezbollah stepped in. But Hezbollah didn't step in. Hezbollah led us to this war, and then claimed that they were defending the Lebanese soil, which is a very simplified and non-credible version of the facts. We all know that Hezbollah did that to drag Lebanon into this war. I know that it wasn't very up to the expectations of the Lebanese southern populations that the Lebanese army had to withdraw. But thank God that the Lebanese army withdrew after all, because they wanted the Lebanese army to take part in the clashes and the war with Israel, to drag Lebanon again into this war and give Iran more leverage to discuss and to negotiate with the Americans. And this is why Hezbollah last week tried to organize I wouldn't say a coup. We're not sure yet.
A street movement against a pressure movement.
A pressure movement, because they were aware then that Iran had lost this card, and the whole point of Hezbollah is keeping Lebanon as a hostage card in the hands of Iran.
So you don't think that there's an opportunity here for the Lebanese state is there an opportunity for them to raise funds to support reconstruction?
Absolutely, but it's going to be conditional. It's going to be conditional. Unfortunately, it's going to be conditional. Unfortunately and fortunately.
So you mean the foreign aid will be conditional upon the disarmament?
Absolutely, and it's very clear. It's clearer than ever. It has been clear for the past 2 years, but we had some help from foreign institutions and foreign aid programs, but now it's clearer than ever. We won't get any help before the disarmament of Hezbollah.
So I think from your answer, it's very clear that the ultimate key and the only thing that will save Lebanon is the dismantling of Hezbollah's weapons. Up to today, I think we can, or up to recently, we can agree that Hezbollah has been calling the shots in the country.
Yes.
And basically runs the country through various means of control, the coercion of violence, control of state institutions, etc., that it's built up over the last 30, 40 years. If every rocket disappeared tomorrow, would Hezbollah still run Lebanon?
I have the feeling that they're not running Lebanon anymore, even with their rockets now, because they have lost this leverage and this power over the Lebanese. And I believe that now you can feel that when the Lebanese government dictates its conditions and negotiates a ceasefire deal, and that Hezbollah isn't able to do anything about that, so they already lost a big part of this power over the Lebanese. Yes, as simple as that, dismantling them militarily and in a security way of dismantling them would even weaken them even more on their political or power grip over the Lebanese. So what would happen? It's something that we've already discussed with the U.S. and the international partners of Lebanon when we created the mechanism. So we should dismantle every warehouse where weapons are stocked and piled. We should arrest the senior leaders. Now we have
military or military and political.
Military and anyone who breaks the Lebanese laws, because there are laws, and now the government has given a political meaning to these laws because it has said clearly, and it took a decision that the military and security apparatus of Hezbollah is illegal. So we should enforce these decisions, and the model has already been drafted with the mechanism in what was supposed to dismantle Hezbollah in the southern Litani River. So the same thing would apply now to the northern part of the river and in every part of Lebanon.
So to the Awali and then beyond.
And beyond.
And then what about the logistics or the other sort of legs to the Hezbollah tripod? So the smuggling corridors, the smuggling routes, Kard al-Hassan, are they still, I'm sure they're diminished, but do they still exist or have they been destroyed?
They still exist, maybe. You can't have clear information about that, but they have definitely been weakened. We saw reports of people on TV that had their money in Al-Kard al-Hassan, and that,
which is the financial system of Hezbollah, the banking system,
and that they were only able to recover a small part of their deposits. So it's clear that all the system of Hezbollah has been severely weakened, whether it's military, political, or financial.
And who can now do the coup fatal to Kard al-Hassan, to the financial network, and what would it take?
I believe that it will collapse by itself, because it will have to sustain to prioritize its investments, and it's impossible with the severe damages that they encountered to sustain in a financial system, especially if the Lebanese financial system starts its recovery plan and process. If the ceasefire agreement succeeds, and the Lebanese state institutions and the rule of law is again in place in Lebanon.
And in terms of the political spoilers, if you like, Jabran Basil, Nabih Berri, to a degree, who can play either the role of the enabler or the spoiler in this case, how can Aoun and Salam neutralize them without blowing up their government?
Again, I believe they've lost their leverages. Jabran Basil was interviewed by CNN a few days earlier, and he was practically aligned with the government's decision. This is something very new. We know that he has been working on a political switch. The FPM, his party, claims that they had this divergence with Hezbollah leadership when in 2024, when they started their support war, their Harb al-Isnad
to Gaza.
And since then, the divergence between the FPM and Hezbollah on the leadership level means that I guess Gibran Bassil is not willing to be to play the role of
Political spoiler.
a political
So he's going to toe
spoiler.
the line in your view.
Yes, I guess that. And then he's been. We all know that he doesn't. The relationship with the president is very bad between these two persons. But he's been insisting on showing himself as a main support for the Lebanese president, which is very significant.
Understood. So, is there a future for Hezbollah post, assuming that disarmament is successful? Is there a post-militarized Hezbollah in the future of Lebanon? Can it exist as a pure, Sinn Féin style?
It's up to them. It's up to them if they want to play by the rules. They have their. They will have to lead political campaigns like everyone else, abide by the laws, and run in their constituencies.
And how would they differ from Amal in that situation?
That's an ideological and political problem that would be raised later. I don't think it's a priority for the time being, especially that Amal movement is very influenced by the presence of its president, Nabih Berri. So what is the future of Amal movement after that? Will they merge? We don't know that. And if they reach a political if they switch or they operate in a leaping way to this political way of doing things and abide by the laws, let them do whatever they.
But couldn't they still be an Iranian proxy? But
no,
they can't continue as a military proxy, they become
definitely
a political
not.
proxy?
Like I said, foreign aid should be stopped. There are Lebanese laws. If you're a political party, you have to be transparent about your finances.
But almost no parties are.
Now, this is what's going to help us in imposing these laws, because if you're getting a foreign aid, you're working for a foreign entity. So this is against the law and against the most basic principles of a country.
So it has to become a Lebanese party if it's to survive as a political party. So we touched a few times on corruption and the role it's played in Lebanese politics and the future of Lebanon over the past 20, 30, 40 years. And we know that historically the history of corruption in Lebanon is one of centuries, not decades. A lot of politicians in Lebanon have participated current politicians have participated in the corruption over the last decades. To what extent do we have to tackle that corruption in order to dismantle Hezbollah's arms and move on and rebuild our country? Is it something that we have to do now, or do we need to focus on the arms first? And can that be resolved without?
I'm absolutely certain that we have to focus on the arms first, because even though this issue is very important, it proved that it was only a divergence from the main problem, which is Hezbollah, because Hezbollah and the system that he created sustains this corruption system. So tackling the corruption system would be a naive way of dealing with things, and people have tried to do that during the so-called Saura during the 2019-2020 years, and
it was Hezbollah's guns that protected the corruption at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and some tried to separate the two issues, and which was a big failure. And they realized very quickly that it was a fake solution, and that they would try and implement.
So I have two closing questions for you. The first one is, what single variable will you be watching out for in the next 10 days? If you had to pick one variable that will be the definition of success, or that will allow us to succeed in achieving a peaceful Lebanon?
A massive army deployment in the southern areas, in the north of Litani area, and
active active enforcement of disarmament by the army.
Let's be realistic. You can't achieve that in 10 days, but sending the troops to the northern Litani area would send a significant signal to the Lebanese, to the partners of Lebanon and to the international community that you're going in the good direction.
But in the past, a truckload of
In the
rockets
right
could
direction.
drive past the army, and the army wouldn't lift a finger. In this situation, going to the Litani border and not doing anything about overt displays of violence, would that be okay?
What happened yesterday, I'm optimistic about this issue, because what happened yesterday with the people firing shots after the ceasefire agreement, claiming that it was a Hezbollah victory, and the quick reaction of the Lebanese armed forces deploying around Dahi and arresting some of the people who were responsible, and Nabi Haber's communique about that, about the firing of weapons and every kind of weapons that they've used, makes me somehow, allows me to be optimistic.
So you agree that it's not just deployment, but it's deployment and enforcement of the law?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I know we're not going to solve it, but enforcement actions.
The game has changed. We have to realize that the game has completely changed. But let's be realistic as well. Hezbollah won't be disarmed in 10 days.
Of course.
But if you send clear signals that you're willing to do that,
to step up,
the international community, the US, the friends of Lebanon will all be behind.
And most importantly, the Lebanese, because I think they've lost faith in this government.
Absolutely.
As a result of that.
Absolutely. But I'm talking about the ceasefire agreement. This is why I was referring to these parties.
Do you think our children are going to grow up in a Lebanon with a state?
This depends on the next few days. I know I'm not being dramatic, but it will give us somehow. It will present us with a benchmark of the coming years, I would say. So if the Lebanese state proves that it's willing to enforce its decisions and enforce the rule of law, then yes, why not? This is why we're still here, because we know that if the state institutions play their role, this country is a good place to live in, and I guess we're all willing to have a future in this country, because despite all of the conflicts and all of the wars that we have endured and that our parents have endured, we're still here, hoping that the state institutions will allow us to foresee a future for us and for our families.
So I think it's not an overstatement to say that the next 10 days are probably the most consequential of our generation in Lebanon.
Yes, it's not exaggerated to believe that they are crucial to the future.
To defining the future of the country.
To defining the future.
Fred, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Michel.
Thank you to Fourth Wall for hosting us today, and perhaps we'll have another chat in 10 days to see where we are.
Looking forward.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and huge thanks to Fred for making the time. If you found this interesting, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more content about global issues with a Middle Eastern perspective. This is us signing off from Beirut for The Curious Omnivore.